Okay, hello everyone. I'm here with Cameron. Tell us about what do you do and stuff, right?
Yeah, I'd say I have a sound system. That's probably like my favorite and most proud thing I do is like I built these giant speakers from scratch pretty much and throw like renegade shows and also in the Psychic Garden shows. And also photography, graphic design. Uh, yeah, like 90% of my life outside of work revolves around like DIY music and art in some regard. Yeah, performer, organizer, artist.
Like a jack of all trades, basically,
Yeah.
right? So, for people who might not know, what's a renegade show?
That is like in a not official location. It's like a pop up. Rochester has a ton of spaces for it. Uh, all of upstate New York. There's a lot of abandoned buildings and like very post industrial spaces up here. My first one was in these water silos, like water reservoirs, that just enormous metal cylinders with crazy acoustics inside. It's got this really bizarre echo. It was noise, ambient,
Nice.
but really cool for the space because like that echo has a really like interesting richness it
Uh
adds to
huh.
the sound. Um, Another one, for example, like I don't know. I don't know how much detail to get into
Yeah.
because it's kind of
No. I think that's you
It's
get the
it's secretive, you
Yeah.
know.
and obviously not technically legal, but you have the point across, right?
It's ambiguous.
Yes, ambiguous. So, how did you get started in all of this? Like this DIY music, like what started it off?
I was into like corny dubstep and trap music,
Uh huh.
and just by being involved in that kind of like music scene in college, like just the kind of like word of mouth, how you find out about those renegades, was
Yeah.
invited to like a very cool abandoned space techno show. Um, yeah, and that was just really inspirational to me. The kind of live music, really cool location, really cool visuals. Like, yeah, I often find that my like any type of art is inspired by the space I'm in a lot, and the kind of ephemeral nature of like a live performance is really interesting to me as well. Um, so yeah, just like going to one and being like, this is the coolest thing ever. I want to do that myself in every way possible.
Definitely that vibe of going somewhere and just being like, I want to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess then with that, kind of what do you do you hope to accomplish? Like, do you want to have that effect for other people in a way, or what are you hoping to do?
Yeah, I think my biggest kind of goal with what I do for organizing and music and art is kind of being the figure I wish there was in the scene. Like the beauty of DIY is that it is what you make it. Like if you are like feel like your city is lame because you don't have a jungle music scene.
You can make
you
it.
can just find people who DJ, find speakers, reach out to a place that'll let you play music in it and make it happen.
Yeah.
Like I want to be the force for sculpting what I want to see out of the Rochester scene, and I want to also enable that for other people for sure. I like to think about like any equipment I own, like speakers, amps, synths, like services as an artist or photographer is just like for the public. Like I'm always happy to bring out the speakers for free if I think someone else's show is cool enough. Like I'll pay for the truck if it's in a cool location. Like I yeah, most of all just want to like build a scene that I think is cool and I'm proud of.
So let's talk about the scene, because you're obviously a figure within it. You run help with the psychic garden and everything. What does the scene mean to you in that case? So that's someone who's helped kind of form it.
That's kind of deep and complex.
But I mean that's
Like,
that's the point of this, though, right?
Yeah, I think it's all about like the expression and like a place for art. I think yeah, again, like the live nature of it is really important to me. Like, what is special about Summer about like Psychic Garden versus my enemies at the Photo City Music Hall?
Yeah, well, no, exactly.
Yeah, it's the kind of intimacy and rawness of it that's special. I think it's cool to be like 5 feet away from the DJ who is just like someone's friend, and like they're not behind a gate, and like you could just go up and talk to them after the show.
There's not like a bunch of layers of security between you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? And like it's yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of intimacy to it that is really interesting, and I think really conducive to creating cool art. Like, I don't know, a show I did recently that I was really proud of was there were like 13 speakers total set up. I think it took longer to set up and take down than the performance itself was, but we did this like ring of speakers
I remember that.
around the center of the room. I set up all the subwoofers, like, so it was like I called it octophonic, which means like quadraphonic performance means there's 4 speakers that play different things. So each speaker had its own kind of audio path, and I set it up so like anyone can just plug in and perform on that, and it'll do kind of like a panning around the ring. And it was, I don't know, just a really cool vibe to have like just random strangers all kind of like bunched together in that ring, like right next to performers, like sets kind of blended into each other, so like someone's performing in one corner and then suddenly like someone across the room jumps in and continues playing. Like that's kind of the community centric like intimacy I seek, is like just kind of everyone being together closely, enjoying the same, like experiencing the same thing in different ways.
Like that very like human connection, whereas like let's say at like a bigger concert, you're like you don't really get to talk to people. Maybe you have like your little group, and even like the performer, like you're not gonna go talk to them or see them, right? It kind of like takes down those walls and barriers to separation, and kind of like that idea.
Yeah, I don't know. It's more like a museum than like, I don't know. There's types of art that I feel like are better experienced like closely and intimately than like behind a wall.
Yeah,
Very
definitely. Yeah, and so like kind of with that, like, so do you feel like the scene is like kind of within like your regards, like kind of getting to that, like has hit that point?
Yeah, I think it is. It's definitely small. Like, it'll be like probably less than 30 people at the things I.
Oh yeah.
You usually tend to see the same like 200 to 300 people at shows, like just rotated out depending on what scene you're in.
Yeah. Which is fair. Like, it's a very niche audience to begin with. Like, only a handful of people have like heard of noise music or like actually understand like what that means. But I like to think that we're in an artsy enough city that there's enough like open-minded people that
definitely
like would find it and be interested. So there's absolutely room to grow.
So actually, touching on noise, for like again, like you said, there's not that many people. Like, what is noise? Like, how would you define it to someone who's like, I want to learn what this is?
I had that exact same question I wanted to
actually,
ask
yeah,
too.
I don't. You have
like what's a good introduction to noise as well, on top of what Alice just asked?
I think there's a lot of different ways to go about it. The kind of subgenre of noise that I'm most interested in, I like to think of almost like jazz. It's like a deconstruction of music. Like, kind of making music that transcends consistent rhythm and chords and chord progressions and regular like 12 tone scale tonality, and kind of makes it more about shaping tones and kind of creating a expressive experience for the audience, and less about like yeah, I don't know. But it's hard to explain, but I think like music without a consistent steady beat or consistent steady chord progression. But even within that, there's noise music that has just a steady 4 on the floor going. There's also, I mean, the people that will just like scream into a mic with distortion pedals and a no input mixer and like throw their their mixer against the wall. There's people that go about it for different reasons. I think I like to go about it from a kind of I don't know, almost like ritualistic sense.
Mm-hmm.
There's people that go about it for like a kind of venting sense, or like experimentation and sound exploratory. I like the kind of goal I have with noise music is to kind of transform a space, like play off of the space and the people around me. Yeah, like to define noise music, I think it's just kind of like breaking rules.
Yeah, like it's very like kind of just how do you want to like take this very malleable idea of music and just break it over your knee, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So like I guess kind of going with that, as a noise musician, like what do you feel like it's one of your prouder moments having like performed a set or something? Like what did you do? How did it feel? This type of stuff.
The octaphonic setup I was really proud of.
I heard, I saw like photos and videos of that. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, performing quadraphonic, like that. I did that a couple months ago. It was like, yeah, just really well reviewed. I've been really like combining my love of speakers with like kind of my interest in involving the space that I'm playing in as a part of the sound. Has really been the direction I'm most excited about taking. Playing in the like water silos was really cool. Yeah.
So especially since you work in such like an experimental like form of music, what are like some like maybe non-musical influences that like could be found in your work that you might try to incorporate? Like what does that look like?
I keep saying it, but like the space that I'm in, I mean that from like a lot of facets, both the acoustics of the space. Like my favorite sound in the whole entire world is like Shran's techno kick drums echoing off of cinder blocks. like a giant empty cement room with echoing kick drums is like
Your go-to.
yeah, I don't know, I'm always like, and it's something you can only really experience live, the way it kind of hits both ears and like the sensory experience of bass in your chest. That's why I built my giant subwoofers, is that
I wanted people to
sound
feel
specific.
that.
Yeah.
No, those are. I've been at a show where those have been pulled out. They are fantastic. They are so fun.
I'm happy to send pictures of everything, but yeah,
Yes,
they,
I
like
would
stacked
love
Foley
to.
are taller than me.
Yeah, no, they are massive. And like again, you said you built those all by from scratch.
Yeah, there's a really cool community of like creating and sharing plans for speakers. Like if whoever is not familiar, it's like a speaker is just a like kind of like a vessel for the vibrating element, the driver, to kind of get amplified and play lower. Like the larger a speaker cabinet is, that's the wood part, like the lower tones you can hear louder. And yeah, like there's just a cool community about like creating cabinet designs, the wood part, and sharing them for anyone to make in their backyard. And yeah, so that's what I did most of my
DIY or die.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Like taking that ethos to its very core of like, I'm not gonna buy these speakers. I will make the exact ones I need.
yeah, I don't like. You could technically buy them from someone who built them, but some of these designs you can't even buy, really. Like,
One of one.
I mean, the shipping would be crazy on them
Yeah.
alone, because like, they take 4 people to carry.
Yeah, like the size and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like it definitely pays off though, because then when you set them up and it hits, you're just like, yeah, there's nothing like this.
Oh, 100%.
Like you're never gonna have that type of an experience, which is like what you're saying. Like that's what you want to hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so like I guess like So now let's kind of switch roles a little bit, because you obviously produce and make a lot of music. What about, like, as just someone who goes to, like, shows, or I don't know how often you go, but, like,
Yeah.
what is kind of one of your favorite moments just, like, watching a show, like, play out?
My favorite show I've ever been to was a party called Derealization in Philadelphia that was just, like, endlessly inspiring to me. And I think about it every time I'm organizing something. There were so many things about that were just, like, just executed perfectly. It was in this old church school, so just, like, because of the space, there was a lot of, like, religious imagery around and, like, crosses everywhere and, like, interesting looking glass. The kind of progression of the acts throughout the night was that it started with ambient, which is always something I'm really inspired by for, like, shows, like starting with noise or ambient, kind of setting the vibe, like, making it less about, like, less of a party, more of, like, a musical experience, you know? So really beautiful, like, ambient acts before. They had these, like, neon lights set up behind them. And then ended with 2 techno acts. Sound system was insane. Like, they... with some sound systems, like, they draw more power than a normal, like, 15 amp outlet is able to supply.
Yeah.
So, like, they have this crazy thing going on, like I don't know the word for it, but, like, combining 2 out of phase outlets, like, the crazy, like, I'm glad no fires were started, but like, crazy high power sound system in, like, residential Philadelphia in a church school. They also had, like, acoustic violin trio as, like, an interlude between sets, which was really bizarre. And each performance was in a different part of the rooms or part of the building, so there was kind of this interesting, like, exploratory aspect of it, that, like, there would be an ambient performance in one room, and then you would hear violins from across the building.
So you get this, like, crossing, and it's kind of like one of those things where you could just walk around and pick and choose whatever you want to experience.
Yeah. Every room was interesting looking too. Like, there were dancers as well, like artistic dancing, interpretive dancing, I guess, in one room. Like, yeah, really. Yeah, I think about that show all the time.
No, that sounds amazing. And so, like, kind of throughout the course, like, there's obviously a lot of, like, technical info you've been throwing at us. Let's say someone wants to get into, like, doing all of this, but feels very intimidated by looking at all this. Like, what would you tell them? Like, how would you give them some advice?
Yeah, I'm so passionate about music technology, and I love talking about it myself. I think the most valuable way to go about learning is to, like, find people who do it and talk to them, and most often, like, if it's someone like myself or the people I've talked to, like, they will talk your ear about it and give you their speakers for free, and, like, if they're in it for the right reasons, they want to see more people doing it. That's definitely how I learned, is I had, like, a handful of mentors who I would just text every day with annoying questions about, like, how do I decide what drivers to put in my speakers and stuff. It's kind of interesting in 2026. Like, the internet is an awful resource for things like that. Like, a lot of it has to be learned from experience. Like, I've blown out 2 to 3 sound systems depending on how you count it. But the experience of blowing out subwoofers and having to save up for new drivers after that, like, and, like, what all went wrong leading up to that is, like, something you can't really get from, like, Reddit forums on how to build speakers, you know? Like,
it's trial by error.
Yeah, talking to people who are obsessed with it and do it all the time and experiencing it yourself is not really something that can be replaced.
So I guess in, like, that regard, I guess, like, are there any people you, like, recommend maybe people would, like, reach out to? Like, obviously, you mentioned yourself, right? Like, maybe some other people who would, like, be more than willing to, like, talk to folks about this type of stuff.
I mean, it depends, like, what scene you're in. Like, the sound guy at electronic show will not be hard to find. They'll be sweating over their amps and running back and forth and shoving a flashlight in their speakers to make sure nothing's smoking. Like, yeah.
So find a local sound guy, basically.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's great, right? Because it also comes back to that thing where it's like being part of that community, being able to like talk to them, like what's going on, right?
Yeah, exactly that. It's just like, yeah, like any show, like especially in DIY, no one will be like offended or off-put if you come up and say like, this is really cool, can you tell me more about what you're doing?
Yeah. Like, we're all like nerds for this stuff, and like we want to know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And so also, like, are there any acts you'd recommend in the city to like check out, right? Like anyone, like, you have to see them at least once, type of deal.
Yeah. Transcendence is a really
next week.
It's I'm actually bringing out my subwoofers for that.
Let's go.
It's like bass.
Yeah, because it's bass sentence.
They have just a really beautiful community around it. Like, it's just really immaculate vibes at every party. There's so many cool performers locally. Dr. Hamburgers is a noise musician who is like definitely a mentor, like someone who like really helped me get into the scene, and like just an endless supply of inspiration and advice and knowledge. Noise musician who's been around forever, like performing and
so long,
like facilitating different DIY spaces. Not local anymore, but he's up like a couple times a year. Joel Dow from Lingua Lucem does analog video art and music alongside like kind of ambient sounds, just endlessly inspirational visuals based around video feedback. It's a really crazy like technique and setup, and like just like the performances that never fail to leave me just like in a completely different space from the beginning. Joel is super inspirational. I really love Tara's sets. I think her project is Lobster. Also incorporates a lot of film and a lot of kind of like sound collages with vinyl and tapes, and
I've always wanted to do something with tape, like really bad.
Tape is a really cool medium. There's some really interesting experimental things you can do with it.
Some guy named like passionate about that, and that's kind of part of this project, is like showing just how passionate this scene is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like just keep going. Like if there's something you want to talk about, just go.
Yeah, Scarlet Fire is my favorite DJ of all time locally. She's the coolest, like just incredibly technically skilled, has so many different genres that she can do.
She's so good.
And also has quite a number of noise projects. Like, just really knows how to make sounds. We jammed the other day. She also, like, finishes tracks, which is, like, that's my, like, probably weakest thing, is that I love making music and performing, but in terms of actually recording and putting stuff out, I think I have a sample pack I made and no actual music. Scar is the coolest.
Someone we're also going to be talking to as part of this.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and also like when Transcendence party, we're interviewing all of them that night.
Cool.
Because I was talking to Autumn about it.
Mm-hmm.
Another person I really want to interview is Cody.
Yes.
Cody's guitar stuff, I love that kind of.
No, I need to message him.
Yeah.
But I will definitely,
We're really good friends.
Yeah.
We're actually performing together on Tuesday. We're doing a live rescore of Hellraiser.
I remember talking about that.
I think I'm going to show up to that one. I want to. That's going to be very fun. So kind of on the topic of like, if people want to like keep up with like when you're performing, like what's the best way they could do that? Like,
I like. That's another thing I'm really awful at, is promoting my work.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like social media, and I
mood.
like, I don't know, it's not a good way of promoting events because it's so saturated. There's like
Yeah.
a million things you see, and it's impossible to get an idea of like what that event is going to
Be like.
and like
So I mean, I guess like just find a random show and show
Yeah.
up and just start talking to people, right? Like kind of what you said earlier, where it's like word of mouth. Go find someone, and be like, "Yo, where's the shows at?" Right? Like,
yeah, that's exactly it. Like Psychic Garden is where I am most of the time. My biggest goal for the summer is playing more outside and renegade
Ooh,
shows. I'm working on a battery powered setup that I can just pull up to a random park.
Yeah,
and
'cause
make weird noises.
I remember the last Renegade show where I was at when we had like the generator, like it died on us partway through the show.
Yeah.
Oh, at the what is it, the incinerator or something like that?
Yeah, so generator shows are not notoriously long lived whether
No.
it gets shut down
Especially
by the police or the battery.
Yeah,
or
with like your speakers and how much they pull. I assume.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a very easy example of how much a speaker can draw. Like, I tripped a breaker at the, like, first time I brought my sound system out after I blew out the drivers, which is, like, it happens all the time. I set them up in Genesee Valley Park, and it was, like, every time the bass would come in, the breaker would trip without fail.
Oh wow.
Which, like,
It was like, well, we gotta figure this out.
yeah, well, figure it out just means turn it down
Yeah.
for a little bit.
I mean, that is the solution. You
Right.
figured it out.
Yeah, it sucks. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, but like also too, like even in those moments, like it becomes a story, right? Of like, hey, we're at the show. That's supposed to go for like another 2-3 hours, and it died an hour and a half in. So that kind of adds that mythos and that vibe of like kind of the scene, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I guess kind of with that, like, because you obviously mentioned like you want to do more Renegade shows, like. What would like your ideal space like look like for one of those types of performances? Like if you could build one from scratch perfectly how you want.
Just a giant empty cement room, honestly.
There's plenty of those in Rochester, like you said, though.
Yeah, but like the sound of that, I love giant cement pillars too, just aesthetically. I was in Buffalo yesterday. And Buffalo has some really amazing like renegade spaces. I don't think they really have a rave scene, at least according to the
Folks you
random
talk to.
strangers I talked to at that place.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, maybe that's an idea. Maybe go take one up there, see what happens.
yeah, the acoustics of the space are really important to me, and like really what inspires sound. Yeah, somewhere that sounds cool, looks cool, and is also like, I don't know. There's a safety aspect to renegades.
I mean,
that
yeah,
I
definitely.
Yeah,
a lot. Like,
Because like, obviously you don't want people getting hurt or like something happening to someone, right?
yeah, like the dust is another concern.
Oh yeah.
Asbestos,
There's asbestos in the
lead.
air.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, even lead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like even just like, because I remember the last Renegade show was like, you have to go up like the side of like this hill at like an angle, and you're like, if you fall, you're just hitting like branches all the way down.
Nothing
yeah.
to stop you except
Yeah.
sharp branches.
Yeah.
Really nice when you're carrying 100-pound speaker
Yeah, I was like-
on your own too.
I was like, how are you gonna do this?
We
How did
left
you do that?
the subs there because I blew them out because you know
Yeah.
you
like-
want to play loud when you're in a cool space like that.
No, exactly.
But yeah, they're still there to this day. Maybe they'll probably go down with the building.
Oh yeah.
Are there plans to demolish it anytime soon?
I heard that's what I heard, but who knows?
Rumor-
Yeah, who knows,
allegedly.
like when that'll actually happen.
Yeah.
'cause it's next to a highway and that's a lot of work.
They did it
Yeah.
with that place next to the Psychic Garden, didn't they? There was like this old, weird, like, thing in a park next to the Psychic Garden that they ended up demolishing recently, like last year.
Mm-hmm.
Some weird industrial building that was like used for oil processing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess another question, because like you've been doing this for a while, right?
Yeah, like 5 years probably.
Okay. So how would you imagine like kid version of you sees you right now and sees this is what you're doing? Like how do they react?
Version of me was into just like normie gay music, like Ariana Grande. Like my kind of introduction to alternative music was through like trap and dubstep.
Uh-huh.
So, like, I'm interestingly today still kind of chasing the same sounds in my own production. I'm really into like the sound of metal and kind of there's this synthesis technique called physical modeling where you use like synthesizer building blocks to create sounds that exist in real life. So like metallic sounds can be created by using a delay with a speed of like milliseconds, and it kind of like the sound kind of compounds on itself, and just, like certain harmonics are added, certain harmonics go away. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny that I'm still kind of chasing the same like Skrillex sounds in a different application.
Yeah.
But,
well, when it kind of comes back to the thing of like you're tracing this idea, but then you also want to put your own twist on it, right? Because that's clearly been a big thing of like you want to do it kind of like what works for you, like kind of that uniqueness, right? So like you're kind of chasing that.
Yeah. I think. Yeah.
So then, I guess like it is very interesting because like you said, with like your journey from going from like very like mainstream kind of normal music to now this very out there and like weird thing. Like I've had a very similar one, and like it's so funny because I remember like my first noise show, it was at the Garden. I don't remember anyone who performed, but like just watching it, and I remember kind of like what you said, it's like almost like an experience.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bassist just distorting their sound, right? But then, like, if you really listen, you can find that bass line and just kind of follow it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that was just a wonderful experience. Like,
Mountain of Woe.
It might have been.
Did he have like 8 amps behind him?
I'm gonna tell you, I can't remember.
My first noise show at the psychic. Well, I say my first noise show because I was only there for like a few minutes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my friend accidentally showed up because we thought it was craft night, and it was not craft night.
That was a funny show to show because that was when Scarlett and I think it was Molly had like the dog collar mask set up or whatever.
Oh,
and Cody was playing, and
Yes.
I'm like, oh, Cody's playing. I've never seen Cody play before, but I've seen like awesome clips.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend was like sitting down at the little monitor in the like lobby playing Tetris or whatever, and I look over and I'm like, what is going on? Why do they have a muzzle on?
That was a very fun show. That was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like that's kind of ultimately the thing of like, I think for me personally, like noise is like a thing. You can't like sit down and listen to it like most other music. A lot of it is the experience, right? Like going there and
You have to feel it.
Like, and also the physicality of like watching them do the like how are they making it? What is exactly going on? It's much more like
hands-on in person.
Yeah, or like it's almost like an art installation in a way. Through music, right? Like, would you agree? Like, that kind of makes sense, or like, what's your take on that?
I mean, I listen to noise on my own.
No,
like it's a personal taste.
Well, no, and you know, I think elaborate on that. Like what do you get out of it in that sense, right?
It's, I think I listen to it in the same way I listen to jazz. And that it's like, I just kind of want to go on a journey, and like, I love the like expressiveness and rawness of it. My absolute favorite artist right now is S280F. Another person I'm like insanely inspired by. Like when I make music, I have to kind of make a conscious effort to not make it sound like a ripoff of them. Yeah, it's just it's very. Yeah, the jazz is something I've also been like. I like the sound of. I listen to, and I think that's kind of my experience with listening to it, like noise as music, just like in your headphones on your bike ride to work, you know.
Like I think that is like an interesting like perspective, because again, like most people like would see noise and be like, well, why would I want to listen to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think like getting an ability, someone who makes it like, well, no, here's why you would want to listen to it, and like kind of not like. To a degree, it almost feels like a bit of a freedom, right? Like you're not bound by any kind of really rules. It's like whatever I want, right?
Yeah, they're both noise and jazz have a really heavy improvisational aspect to them.
Yeah.
Where, like, some people have an idea of like where you want to start, where you want to end, and then the middle is kind of what you're feeling in the moment, or like maybe you have a concept you start with, and you just kind of explore the farthest reaches of like what you can do with. You can see the weirdest things in like noise music, like what you can do with a
Yeah, and like
metal pot full of contact mics and things, like.
but I feel like that's also like one of the more like what makes it so interesting, like kind of like inspirational, right? Like they're taking these like ideas or objects that like shouldn't work, and they're like, no, we're gonna make something with this. Watch us, right? Like it's easy to be like, yeah, running at guitars, drums, a mic, and then make a band, right? Like,
Yeah.
But then being like, yeah, I'm gonna take some random like mics and a distorter, and we're gonna see what I cook up.
Yeah. No, that's my favorite. Everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people have their kind of like gimmick in noise music.
Yeah.
Like the person that puts on a scuba mask and a contact mic and like puts their face in a bucket of water and like.
Yo, I would watch that. That looks so fun.
Like I had another performance that might not happen again in Rochester, but might happen in other kind of iterations or versions of it. It's called Avant-Garde Clue. Put on by Adam Aratola. That's someone I can recommend. He lives in Vietnam now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did he just move?
He recently moved, yeah.
I remember seeing posts about that.
But he had this performance that would, or like, it was like a week-long festival.
Oh, I remember
That's happened like 2 or 3 times. It was over 200 artists, I believe, both times, from all across the world, like Vietnam, Japan, like
just everywhere.
Yeah, and it was just 15-minute performances each, like that. It really summarized the kind of like, I don't know, the beauty of like noises. Like everything is jazz music. Like
like just kind of watching everyone from like different walks of life come together for one thing and like see what their take on it is, right?
Yeah, right. It's like overwhelming to like sit down and see like 15 people in one night and like just see a new artist you didn't even like come there to see, just like blow your mind, and then like the next set is like, I don't know. Yeah.
Again, it's an experience, right? It's something you would need to go see.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, I don't know, like it's so fascinating because it's just again like that weirdness and outlandishness of it, but then through that it brings so many people together.
Yeah, it was very cool since this event was promoted on like the local news.
Oh, really?
Seeing like,
oh, how did that go?
Like there's some really funny clips of like one artist doing like backflips over his mixer and screaming into a mic on the mic. Like,
wasn't that that was on the news? I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Industry Standard was the artist. Like
it's on the floor rolling around, and
exactly.
The news anchor is like, "Wow, interesting."
Yeah, it gets passed around the local scene a lot, but like it is really fun to see like people who have no concept of what noise is experience it for the first time, and like whether they're into it or like kind of, like scared for their safety.
Like, what are these people do? So I guess actually on that, like, since you mentioned like having all these artists come in for like one thing, if there was like any artist or musician you could work with in like any sort of capacity, like, do you have one in mind?
I mean, I've got a lot of people I'd love to book for shows.
Yeah, like just talk about them, right? Let us know.
There's this Berlin DJ Truth Speaker who the genre I'd say is like Schranz, which is like a German techno subgenre that is like basically white noise ducked by a kick drum. He has really cool sound design. That is someone who played Derealization. Yeah, just really intense techno that kind of like I don't know, what I get out of his music is this inspiration to make techno music that you can appreciate in the same way you appreciate noise music, that it's like you can just sit down and let it wash over you. That can also be interpreted the other way, of it's like noise music that you can dance to. Yeah, Truth Speaker from Berlin. S280F is that my number one right now is like it's a very performative kind of performance of like they have this weird kind of costume they put on, like metallic mask and like make weird noises into a mic, and there's like their sound sometimes will incorporate like orchestral music and kind of blends orchestral sounds with like Skrillex dubstep growls. It's very bizarre to describe, but it's some of the most interesting sound design to me, and I always see them in front of giant sound systems. So that is something I would love to make happen. Yeah, I think most of all, rather than booking like big artists and out-of-town artists, like I'm most interested in giving people like an opportunity to kind of start their music doing stuff. Like I'm an organizer at the Psychic Garden, so I can book shows, and my biggest priority is like giving people their opportunity to have that first performance at the Garden. Yeah, my favorite bills have been ones where it's like all people who I've never seen before. Like we do like as a medium to small size scene kind of have this rotating cast of 20 or so artists who are on every bill. My absolute favorite is seeing people perform for the first time, or like also just giving the city of Rochester new performances to see is really exciting. Like I love our locals, but seeing them like for the 20th time doesn't hit as hard as seeing them for the first time.
Also, like, kind of, you want to get new blood in the scene, right? Because then they may have new ideas or stuff, right? You want to see what these other people are making, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because
it's also kind of like you mentioned, like every kind of like noise artist has like their like gimmick or their niche, right? Like you're like, okay, I know what you're doing, but like let's see maybe what someone else can interpret or like cook up, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so I guess like since you mentioned like you do like booking, kind of like what's like the back end of that kind of as an organizer look like for something like this, right? Like what would be the steps or process, like how it's made?
Yeah, if you want to get into it, like I would recommend starting with someone else who is experienced with it, because there is a kind of like professionalism to it that you have to understand. Like if you're booking someone from out of town, there's a million things you don't realize that
You need to
go
account for
into it. Yeah. But like, I mean, really the only things you need are speakers and somewhere to put the speakers. Like,
Yeah, fair.
Like all that is genuinely all that goes into a show. And I fully encourage anyone who has interest in doing that. Like, if it is the parking lot outside your house, like
Do it.
throw a noise show there.
I mean,
like,
yeah, because like what you kind of said, where it's just like you can kind of make any space a noise space if you really just want to, right?
yeah, and those are always the coolest ones. Like, I think Dr. Hamburgers did a noise show in like the bug jar bathroom. That
That sounds awesome.
Rochester, like,
Oh my god.
stuff like that. Like that, the really like ephemeral. Like it's there for like. That's another thing. Dr. Hamburgers does these like with a friend of his. They have the duet called Tummel. Like they throw these like noise performances on the top of Cobb's Hill, like this hill in Rochester. In that they will only do them in blizzards, like so.
All the wind and stuff.
Yeah, they'll bring their their battery and speaker and amps and synths up there, and like everyone bundles up, like, and it'll be like more people than you expect on the top of a hill in like the worst driving conditions imaginable. Like for these two weirdos to make like weird feedback noises, flashing lights, like yeah, those are always the coolest ones. And like evolving from that, if someone's interested in like booking at like the garden and spaces like that, it's just a matter of like showing up and talking to people, and yeah, like to some level, like for the bigger shows, it definitely has to be kind of an obsession. Like my bigger shows are something that I'll be stressing about for a month on end and do pretty much nothing but
worry about them.
Like how I'm getting artists in here, like who is helping me set up the speakers that take 4 people to move. Like
they were a pain to move.
Yeah. Yeah, and it definitely is easier with more people, of course. The graphic design, like I have a tendency of kind of doing it all on my own because I have a strong creative vision of what I want it to look like, and like I don't know, it's maybe a bad habit, but like when I know exactly what I want out of it, I'm not great at asking for help. I do that with my hair. I cut my own hair because I can't tell a barber like what I want it to look like. I know better than them.
You're like,
maybe not as skilled, but
but you know what you want, and that's what again kind of like ties back to what you said about like the music and everything. Like you know what you want.
I think it's
and, like,
valuable to learn every aspect of it so that you have respect for like what it's like to be an out of town performing artist, and like know kind of like the hospitality behind that, and like have experience with sound. I think that's probably the most valuable one, but also like the graphic design, the photography, the visuals. Like I think it is really valuable to have experience with every aspect of a performance to put on something, or at least just like know who to reach out to.
Yeah. Because I've also like through Psychic have like been kind of picking up visuals, a little bit of audios, and like it's very different being on like the other side, right? And like all the stuff like you don't even think about that can go wrong and like will go wrong sometimes. I remember I forget who we were miking up, but like we had turned them all the way down and they were still way too loud. And just like, what are we gonna do here?
Yeah.
Turn some dials and just see if that works.
Like you see, like sometimes that is the case, but other times you're like on the fly, like gotta improv something, right?
Sure.
Like, that's when you really get to see like the people who like know what they're doing, like really flex, and it's so impressive every time. Like it never ceases to amaze me what these guys can like put on.
Yeah.
When they have like 2 minutes before a set and trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. How to keep a show going after you burn out a pair of subwoofers.
Exactly. It's like, what are we doing? And then just hit it, right?
Right. Yeah.
And, like I think that's also just a testament to how like resilient this community is when it comes to like stuff like that. Right. And like the passion, right? Because it would be easy to be like, well, subwoofer blew out, we're done. And it's like, no, we're gonna keep going somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's that incinerator show. Like I think went till the 2 or 3 a.m. Like we just moved back to the Psychic Garden after the battery blew out, and like performances that people were like super into and still talk to me about.
Yeah.
Like we did me, the out-of-town artist, and Eleanor Power Stance, like, just set up the hardware since we had and did, like, a random trio.
Oh, yeah.
And people were just, like, really into it. Like, I couldn't hear. We didn't have a monitor. I was just putting in drum patterns, and, like, there's no recordings of it, but, like, one of the performances people still talk to me about, which is, cool, and really speaks to the power of, like, a one-time live performance.
Like kind of what you said about like just kind of like being there, right? Like experiencing it. This is not something that like you're gonna see again, so go live it in that moment and do it, right? Which I kind of also what you said about like the music was just like just do it, find the space and make it happen, right?
Yeah.
So you also mentioned you have like your gear and stuff. Could we take a look at that and like could you give us a rundown of what that looks like?
Can we have a little tour of your board and stuff?
Yeah.
It
will
looks
show people like how it's made and like because all these words you give us and now we can see it.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
It
to
does.
Be fair.
If I can give like a disclaimer, I do want to say like I try my hardest to be not a gear person. I think there's this kind of culture in music, especially DIY, of like gear fetishism, I like to call it.
Yeah.
I feel
Like,
that.
people, the thing they want to talk to you about like after the set is not about like
How you perform.
This is so like kids these days. But, like,
go speak your piece.
it makes sense. Like flashing lights, a lot of knobs is cool to look at, but you can make music with nothing but your body and no amplification, and those
And a contact
have
mic.
been like mind-blowing performances. Like people who just like make weird noises with their mouth on the floor. Like if you are into it and you are passionate about your art, like that is music. It's not like everyone says that and it's such a corny cliche, but it's not about the gear. It's like what you are actually doing and the performance and the passion that you put into it is what really matters.
Oh yeah, no. So someone else we actually interviewed earlier, they pretty much said the same thing. Where it's like, it doesn't matter what guitar you have. If you're playing hard enough and you know what you're doing, you're gonna make it work.
If you look cool enough, it's all good.
Yeah.
That's what people remember.
Or like Randy Mello was telling us this, where it's like they were like, yeah, most of us aren't actually that good, but when we go out, we put our whole ass into it, and like we're jumping around doing all this stuff, and that's what people remember.
Right, yeah, it's the stage presence and the passion behind it, and that's kind of a weird kind of line to navigate as someone who like has performances with 8 speakers and like can almost like have a tendency to become more of a technical demonstration than a musical performance.
Yeah.
And that's something I really try to get away from, is making it music and not a technical
demo.
demonstration.
Right,
But like despite loving setting up like 100 cables and audio pads.
Yeah, and it's like like that thing of like, yeah, appreciate the game and like what it can do, but also understand like what you're there for, right? Kind of like that balance of like, well, what am I here for, right?
Yeah, I do really love the process of it, but I think like even for like a visual artist, that's an important thing to have, is like to enjoy the process of making your art. It's like it's tools. It's like the music is not coming from it. It's coming from you, but like it's important to enjoy your tools, I guess.
I mean, yeah, and so like let's go appreciate like what tools you have and like how they work. Yeah, Cameron, like here's this. What is this? Because like I just see a bunch of knobs. What's happening?
So Eurorack modular synth. The idea of like most synths people would be familiar with is that like everything here is kind of combined into one element. The thing about modular is that unlike a Moog with a keyboard, it's broken out where like the thing that makes the sound, the thing that shapes the sound, the thing that like adds and removes harmonics are each their own element. So I kind of built this kind of in like an avant-garde drum machine of sorts. I really love the clicky poppy percussive sounds. So I like a lot of this is made to create and shape like clicks and pops into like percussive sounds. I'm also like I mentioned physical modeling. That's another kind of technique I'm really inspired by, which is like creating real world sounds out of like synthesizer elements. So like the delays and FM and comb filters and all that. I like making sound that sound like a uncanny version of something
you're aware of. Do you have a good example of that based off of what you've done so far?
Like a recording of it?
Or like just in general, like if you can think of something.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of my performances have a lot of like storm sounds of sort and like rain sounds, and like it's all made with synthesizer elements because that's like what's available to me and is easy to manipulate in 4-point space, like a 4-point sound system. I mean, gear wise, I'm like, what my mind works best with is, I think modular is not for everyone, but it is definitely like just the way my mind kind of works, the infinitely like customizable. Essentially, you're making an instrument from scratch,
Right.
as opposed to like they call something like a Moog synth a fixed architecture synth, where you can't reroute like what element comes before another. And I really like the ability to have like feedback, like plugging in output back into itself, is a common technique in noise music as a whole. But in modular, there's a million ways to go about that.
Do you want to give us a rundown of like what each thing on your board is and what it does, just for those who don't know?
Sure. Well,
I'm a bit of a nerd. I'm really curious.
yeah. No, I'm happy to talk about it. The way I kind of think about it, in addition to being like a bizarre drum machine, is kind of like a network of analog computers.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what an analog computer does is basically like math. You put voltages in, and then it kind of like solves for different voltages out through analog multiplication and subtraction and addition and like logic and things like that. So like
Many chords.
Where to start? Like filters. Filters add or most often remove harmonics. A harmonic is a sine wave that is. Yeah, a harmonic is a sine wave. Something like a drum sound has a lot of harmonics. Like it's a lot of sine waves. Something like a, I don't know, a triangle wave has very few harmonics. I don't know quite how much to get into it, but if you've heard like the build up in a DJ set where it
Like the boom, boom, boom.
That's a high pass filter. It's getting rid of the low harmonics. There's like another thing in modular is the idea of control voltage.
Mm-hmm.
So things that create or process control voltage, that is, everything is on a scale of -10 to 10 volts. Some of it goes back and forth at a rate that you can hear. That's like audio signals, like alternating current, AC. Some of it is just like fixed at a specific like 5 volts. That is direct current, which is most often used as control voltage. So like in a fixed architecture synth, it's all inside. It's like on a scale of like 1 volt per octave, where like 0 volts would be C0, 1 volt would be C1, and then like the notes in between are on a scale of that. Like you can send a current to tell your oscillator what pitch to play, send a voltage to tell your oscillator what pitch to play. An envelope is what like tells you the shape of the sound.
Describe that, the shape of the sound.
I can show you actually.
Oh, I love these things. I love these little visualizers.
Oh, awesome.
This is a CRT oscilloscope. Yeah, you want to hear about gear. Oscilloscope shows you voltage. Yeah, it just shows you voltage. Oh, this is hype. I'm so happy to bring out the oscilloscope.
Let's go.
Is it often that you get to bring it out?
I mean, it's helpful to visualize what voltage you're seeing. But, like, here's an envelope, for example. Really fast.
Interesting.
Yeah, there you go. So, like, that would sound like a bunch of plucks sequentially.
Like you can see how the light's moving, and as you change, I assume that's the pitch, or...
You would not be able to hear this. So this is control voltage. It is going at a rate that is much lower than what we can hear. We can hear a scale of 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Control voltage is used to, like, you would use that signal with something like a VCA. It's called a voltage controlled amplifier. That would tell, like, that would be basically the loudness of another signal. So VCAs take one signal in, a control signal in, and then the control signal is how loud the other signal you're putting in as the control signal, and put in like noise or an oscillator as the audio signal. It would be a bunch of plucks where what you see on the scope is the volume. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot more
cool.
sense.
And yeah, I mean, here's just like pure direct current,
We'll get there.
maybe. Pure DC. Who knows? I don't know if there's what else is interesting. I mean, like an audio rate signal.
Oh.
This is noise. So, like, literally just white noise. Let me make that a little.
Ooh, larger.
Yeah.
Really scratchy.
Yeah.
You can kind
Yeah.
of see like the like parabola going through it a little bit when you have it zoomed in
That-
like that.
Might just be residual, like, oscilloscope weirdness. But that's like what it would sound like if you just like turned on your radio to static. Isn't it fun to see your voltage rather than to listen to
Yeah,
it?
it gives you like a perspective on it, right?
Yeah, like audio
Oh.
rate signal. This is what like a human voice emulation
Would sound like.
you know, like text to speech.
Yeah.
The weird
that's-
janky stuff that they did a long time ago, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so like this guy has a text to speech chip in it. A really old kind of Texas Instruments like text to speech. I don't know if it's an emulation or what specifically. But it just makes kind of weird like robot like mumblings, and it like loops a specific phrase that's sometimes like legible words, sometimes not. But yeah, like that's a more complex audio. Like,
So Cameron, have you ever thought about like taking the visualizer and having that be like your visuals for a set?
Joel Dow uses oscilloscopes.
Really?
Lingua Lucid uses an oscilloscope as a part of the visual performance.
Oh.
I've seen some people put really nifty things on them.
Yeah, this guy just has one axis. On some you can have like a what is it? Like a X and Y coordinate.
And then the
So-
Z, I imagine, on some other ones? Or is that a bit too complicated for them?
You could. That would probably be like that would definitely be like a digital, probably in like a computer program kind of thing.
Yeah.
But on this, like, Y is amplitude, X is time. You can plug two voltages in for X and Y of the one trace. and draw out, like, if you put in like two sine waves that are 90 degrees out of phase with each other, you can draw a circle with it. And then beyond that, what people do is like make like oscilloscope art. So couldn't do that with my own. I could make art with it, but not like draw shapes, you know.
That I have seen before, like people like doing circles and like maybe 3D looking objects on stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine the process for that is probably like a little bit complicated.
Not something I've tried.
So, like anything else you want to just like kind of go in depth about and talk about or something like?
In regards to your like
Actually, so
setup.
I do have a question. What?
Yeah.
Is this any? What is this? I've been like seeing this. I'm like
The little wooden boat with colored
like,
pegs on it.
Like what's the story behind these pieces?
I'm using these in the Hellraiser rescore.
Ooh.
So a bit of a behind, like how did they work? Like,
Yeah. One of my favorite like thinkers, I guess I would say, in like experimental music is Peter Blasser, who designed these and also a lot of other circuits that he just publishes online, and like they're called paper circuits. Mm-hmm. What you do with them is like it looks like a weird kind of sigil with like some things are recognizable as like I know a resistor goes there. Sometimes he like kind of makes up his own code of what electrical components go where, but it is a circuit diagram. You print it out on cardstock and like poke your components holes through the cardstock.
Oh. So it's like a
then-
mock-up in a way? It's like a mock-up in a way then?
Yeah, sort of. And then like solder it all together. And these, it's a lot of like weird. He's got a kind of similar idea of making a avant-garde drum machine with those paper circuits. That is a project I really. It's high up on my very long project list. But yeah, these are designed by him. He like talks in the weirdest way. He has like a language of his own that he uses to describe music and circuits and electronics and stuff. I mean, like what it is specifically, again, despite like trying not to be a gear person, I'm really attracted to things that are like esoteric and unlabeled, and I think like something like this where I'm just given a bunch of jacks and like, I mean, you learn what they are. There's sometimes a manual, sometimes like you need to figure it out on your own. I think that's really conducive to my process of like less about like reading and calculating something and more about like a kind of like truly experimental process of like trying something and finding out what happens with it. But I mean, in their base, it's a preamp for like a microphone or the audio track from Hellraiser. Two loopers / delays that you can switch between. So like you can freeze the buffer in the delay and just have it looping on repeat, and then adjust the speed or the volume or the feedback if you're using it as a delay. This thing in the middle is intended to kind of be used as a sequencer for the two loopers. So it's 5 cross-modulated triangle waves with FM inputs and like ways to switch how this like chaos circuit affects it. So you can use these as control for the speed of the loopers, whether or not it plays in reverse, the amplitude of what's coming out of the looper, things like that. So yeah, like looper delay at its base that's done in the the most like esoteric and least user-friendly way possible.
like
this guy.
But it's also just like so like visually interesting. Like it makes
It's like
it
a
stand
boat.
out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it would be like a kid's toy or something. But it's like no, this is gonna play like music.
Yeah, this is a filter. So I think I mentioned filters a bit ago, but they usually are removing harmonics.
Yeah, you mentioned that with that one in the back left.
Making a sound more dull or brighter, maybe. Filter with a... There's this idea in noise music that comes about a lot called circuit bending, where you take a piece of equipment that is old or something and rewire it in a way that produces surprising results. So like people love to circuit bend like kids' pianos and child toys and like even video equipment like cameras. Circuit bent cameras have the coolest outputs. It looks like super glitchy and is like all analog, and like the output from taking a picture on a circuit bent camera is like crazy colors and like shapes, and like your face is half missing and stuff like that. But that idea of circuit bending comes about in this filter guy, where like each of these, there's not even a manual for this guy. You just kind of like plug in things indiscriminately. All the patch points, unlike Eurorack, are androgynous, meaning like an input can behave as an output. So it's like a modulation matrix that is kind of meant to be played like circuit bending.
So in theory, if you like plug something into this, like if you plug both the like two different inputs into each other, you can switch which direction they go since they're androgynous.
Less which direction they go and more like which parts of the circuit are affecting each other.
Right.
Yeah, usually in like Eurorack, which is this type of modular, like an output can only be an output. You can't plug something into it, or else like you're putting voltage into something that is also trying to put voltage out. There's a potential of like damaging equipment.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, there's ways to make a circuit that you won't find yourself damaging anything.
And you're using these at that will Hellraiser like rescore you guys are doing in 2 days?
Yes, the looper guy drives really nicely, and it's also fun to like capture like the weird noises and just loop them infinitely.
Do you think it's gonna be like a mainstay for some of your performances, or is it gonna be like a time to time?
The idea of like a rescore?
No, the two like little modular setups that you have right there.
I mean, this guy is absolutely like my instrument. Like, I like in the same way like a saxophonist like knows their saxophone super intimately and like can just like play on it and improvise for hours. That's how I feel about this guy. Is like it is absolutely my instrument that I just feel super comfortable with and intimate with and just like love making sound on. So this is like always what I'm performing on.
It must be really hard to carry around, like the speakers too, right?
Yeah.
Like those cabs.
It's awful. And I made the case myself. That's another cool thing.
I was gonna ask you about that.
If Eurorack or like any type of hardware is interesting to you or anyone, learn how to solder as like your first step, because so much of this is like crazy expensive. So like those paper circuits are a great way to start out. There's within modular there's like a really strong DIY synthesis community of like you can from a lot of manufacturers just buy like a PCB, like just the like this, and then you get your own components and solder it together, and you hopefully then have a fully working module.
And for this whole board you've got, when you transport it, do you unplug each and every single one of these like not pedals, but like each and every one of these modules, or does it just stay in?
There are often like that many cables on the floor plugged in. Like I oftentimes use every one I have. It needs to stay plugged in, and like since I made the case myself, I don't have like a cover for it. So transporting this one, if it's raining out, like it's
You gotta be careful with it.
It's so miserable. That's like I do have some nice gear, but in terms of like cases and transportation, like I don't have a rack for anything Rackmon I got that very generously from some friends at Visual Studies Workshop, but that obviously can't go to a race.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be kind of
Good
inconvenient.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the rescore of Hellraiser. What is that?
I would even say less rescore and more like sonic deconstruction.
Let's go.
That's a rescore in music, like live rescore is something people do where like they sometimes for like silent films they'll play like the visuals of the movie and make music on top of those visuals that is like what is going on in the movie, like,
Right.
Yeah, like remaking the score of the movie.
Just like vibes based.
Yeah, exactly. And we're getting kind of weirder with it, where I'm taking the audio from the movie, kind of remixing that
With those over there.
Yeah, Cody's making some sounds on top of it. Yeah, like using a film as as an element of the musical performance is
Yeah.
what we're doing basically. Yeah.
That sounds like fantastic and everything. And you said that was on Tuesday at the Psychic Garden, correct?
Yes.
If people wanted to find out how to get there or like the location, what do they have to do? Because I know y'all like secret them about that for reasons.
Yeah, I mean the reason is just like kind of it's not music venue, and there's like laws about like how many people you could have in a space, and just like I don't know. I mean in general, it's just police don't want people partying without paying taxes or whatever.
Having the appropriate paperwork.
I'm not the one to speak to the full legal implications
Yeah.
of it, but like talk to an artist who's performing or the Psychic Garden Instagram account or like
Yeah.
This will probably be like up long after that
I mean,
has happened.
But look, if you want to hear a rescore of Hellraiser or some future event like that, that is how you would know about this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Kind of not word of mouth. Of like, well, now you're plugged into that scene.
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, we plan on making it a multi-time thing. I got this really bizarre like silent film in Buffalo yesterday that I've never seen, but it's about like humans being enslaved by this weird race of like biomechanical aliens or something. We want to do more, and we want to get more artists in on it. Like
Makes you think of like Metropolis in a way.
Yeah. I very much plan on just saying like at the end, like if this was cool to you and you want to be involved in future ones, is like remixing the visuals or performing yourself. Like reach out. We both, Cody and I, really want more people involved in it.
Fair.
Yeah. After Adam Aratola moved, like he used to do this thing called 5 Minute Fest, where just at his house he would have usually an out of town artist plus just a bunch of community members who make noise, etc. Those 5 Minute Fest, and like 5 Minute Fest means like everyone who comes can bring some gear and do a short like 5-minute performance, and they just go back to back like seamless, like first person to last person. It's just like 5 minutes that kind of like lead into the next set. Yeah, everyone misses those a lot with him out of town. So Cody and I were inspired to keep that kind of like
Going.
it's like small community centric noise
Yeah.
idea kind of thing going.
On a different little note and tangent, do you have any shout outs you want to give to people?
Shout out.
I usually, towards like the ends of interviews, I always
Yeah.
ask people if they like have shout outs they want to give.
I mean, again, it's also like for a way for people like, okay, I like what they're doing. What's maybe some other people work in a similar vein or like that they like, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm super inspired by what Transcendence is doing in the community they've built. I would like, it is a trans-centric party, but I mean, I've performed and wouldn't really call myself trans. I would 1,000% recommend everyone check that out just for like what a really incredible like party is like. And yeah, I mean, like, shout outs, like, the experimental and noise communities as a whole, like, I would recommend anyone check it out once. Is like, just the open-mindedness of seeing what it's like. Like, if you're not, there is I strongly believe there's a type of noise for everyone, whether it's, like, calm ambient or throwing your mixer against the wall with a neon balaclava on and screaming into a contact mic. Like there's a type of noise for everyone for sure. So yes, shout out the Rochester noise community, and I recommend it everyone see. Somewhere.
I think, like, do you have anything else?
You answered a lot of my stuff pretty well,
Yeah.
and I really appreciate you letting us do this interview and just showing us your, like, awesome, your oscilloscope and your dials and all your wires and all this stuff.
Like,
I really
just such
appreciate
a great,
it.
like, behind the scenes of, like, what goes into this, right? Because I also feel like for some people there might be like a misconception of, like, how much effort really goes into, like, a noise show or something, right? And it's like, well, now look at all the stuff that you have just to, like, make whatever you're doing, right?
I mean, I do reiterate, the effort that goes into a noise show can be you gather some friends and, like, scream into a mic in your backyard, like
Just random stuff you find in the backyard.
Yeah, it is, like, the most accessible form of music I can think of.
Like, that is such an interesting concept, right? Where it's, like you said, where it's such a low barrier to entry, but then if you want to go do all this, like, wild nonsense, you could get so deep into it. And, like, I think that's also, like, such a cool, like, thing to have within the scene, where it's like, yeah, you can just go get, like, some pots and pans and, like, you'll probably make something.
Right.
Or you can do all this.
Yeah.
And, like, I think having both as the end of the spectrum is, like, just fantastic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just for anyone's, like, level or abilities or desire.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, like, I'm satisfied. Thank you so much for your time. It was great to see all this.
Yeah, thank you for asking.
Yeah, no problem.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.